Hey everybody, it's me again, and it's time to look at another books versus movie. So, which one are we going to be looking at? Well, I think this is going to be a very interesting one. Um, we are going to be looking at the short story of James Thurber's Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Yay! And clearly, as you can see in my right hand, we've got two adaptations of A Secret Life of Walter Mitty. We've got one that was produced in 1947, and we've got the other one that was made in 2013. So, and yes, before anybody else comments, yes, this is a VHS. I am not ashamed of owning a VHS. Woohoo! But nor am I ashamed of reviewing these movies. So, let's start off with the story of A Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Is pretty much a short story. About a man who is middle-aged and has imaginations and daydreams a lot, and the daydreams he has are always engaging throughout the simplest moments while he's tolerating his wife in the real world. Personally, I'm not really sure what Samuel Goldwyn and Ben Stiller saw in this simple short story about this daydreamer with engaging imaginations and simple moments. But, I guess that's where they ask the question, how do you make a 90-minute movie about this 5-page story? And one of the ways they did it was Samuel Goldwyn's 1947 classic, Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And it extended it by making one of the supposed daydreams a reality, and Walter Mitty still daydreams throughout, as well as in his everyday life. The only thing that the book and the movie have in common are 2 daydreams in here and some of the dialogue. After that, it's completely different. Walter Mitty's younger, engaged, later to dump his fiancée for a prettier lady, bossed around by everyone at work, has a job, and gets caught up in a murder mystery and he has to prove that it wasn't a daydream. The movie is a classic, and possibly Danny Kaye's second iconic comedy film. What I enjoy about this film is how it can stand on its own as an original story. While I do feel bad for James Thurber never getting to see a faithful adaptation, I love this film. However, I can see one of the reasons why he didn't like it. Back in those days, Samuel Goldwyn, the producer, his films were solely made to glorify their main actors, and Danny Kaye was one of his biggest stars. Even some of the daydreams aren't subtle about his talents. Not to say I didn't like them. They worked fairly well into his daydreams, but yeah, it pauses to glorify Danny Kaye before getting back into being a straightforward narrative story. But with that being said, I still think it's good. I mean, the characters were engaging, the story was mostly well told. There was no bad actor in that movie, not one. And the murder mystery was still very exciting and still gets me on the edge of my seat. And come on, you can't go wrong with a Boris Karloff cameo and still looking like Frankenstein, even in a business suit or a doctor's suit. And now we have to move on to the 2013 version, starring and directed by Ben Stiller. I still wonder what he saw in that, in that short story. Because this movie, just like the last, this movie has almost nothing in common with the original story other than he's a daydreamer. The story is about Walter Mitty searching for a certain photo to help save Life magazine. From there, he goes to a variety of places. It has been met this movie has been met with a lot of mixed reviews. Some people were upset how it didn't live up to the original movie or the short story, while others thought it was too boring or too dramatic. Other people praised it for being tender or a good film. What I praise about it is the journey, making me want to travel again, and the visual effects. The filming locations were in New York, Greenland, and Iceland, and good grief, this movie never shies away from taking a moment to admire the beauty of these two countries. Also, the daydreams, honestly, are done a lot better than in this version than the other version. In the Danny Kaye version, you pretty much could tell when the situation was a dream due to narration and camera fading shots at his face. Whereas, here you had to guess. At one point, I was shocked when an exaggerated moment turned out to not be a dream. Though I will say that this movie does, that only half of this movie does have Walter daydream. Then afterwards, he's 100% of the real world. Not quite sure how to feel about that, though. Looking at these movies and the short story, it's hard to judge a winner. All three are interesting stories. Though I do understand why James Thurber would be upset that his simple short story being twisted around and barely resembling his art. Though on their own, these movies do work beautifully. I do recommend all three of them, and so, how do we choose a winner? So, I can't say that the movies are better than the book, because I don't really think so. I don't think these movies are better than the book. But in this case, I don't even think the book is better than these movies. And that says a lot. Because what the book lacks is while it is engaging, it doesn't maintain it for 90 minutes. But I can't even say that it's a tie, because the three stories are not the same at all. So I'm going to give it the unique title of Apples and Oranges. That is my winner. That is my winning verdict. Apples and Oranges. And what is this verdict, you may ask? What does it mean? Well, when people call something apples and oranges, they usually mean it's different, but it's still good. That's what I'm saying for these movies and the short story. They're apples and oranges. They are great on their own. So, yeah, I definitely recommend these movies and the short story. And I still say that Danny Kaye is awesome.